here for the very first Veterans Den podcast. So doing a new approach and a new way of getting out to you guys, and even finding in new people out there to be a part of the Veterans Den. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Dominic. I go by the Dominator. That was my nickname and call sign when I was in the Navy with the Seabees, which I'll go into later during this podcast. Also, too, I want to thank everyone that has supported me throughout the years with my nonprofit that I founded, plus my Veterans Den channel, which has been doing really good. But I actually have a more bigger following on my Raider TikTok, which is Bane the Raider. I dress up as a Raider super fan, so I'm up and coming. It was kind of hard with the COVID. So also, too, I'll get into that. But welcome to the very first Veterans Den podcast. And I am your host. Sometimes we'll have other people here. I'll do interviewing, but most of the time it'll just be me. Who I am? Well, I am Dominic. So let's start out there. I am a third generation equipment operator CB. Proud CB. My grandfather was a World War II CB. He was part of the island hopping or island push in the Pacific. My dad did 20 years, or I think 21 years. Can't remember. I think 20 years for sure. But he did 20 years, retired, and a year later and 1 month later, a year and a month later, I joined the Navy without him knowing. So he was surprised because he thought I was going to go to college, but really I wanted to join the Navy and all of that good stuff. So fast forward, did my whole career, did 12 years in active duty, was honorably discharged because unfortunately downsizing of the force with the Obama administration cutting the defense budget. Unfortunately, I got laid off out of the military, which caught me off guard because I did not want that to happen at all. I wanted to retire in the Navy. I wanted to even do more than 20 years. I probably would have died in the Navy if I could, because I loved it. I loved it. Best thing since sliced bread. I love the military. I love what I did. What I did is, for those of you who don't know, Seabees are a combat support unit, combat construction, combat engineers, however you want to label it. And we are the only people in the Navy that don't go on ships. There is a small battalion of Seabees that are called cargo handlers, and they kind of offload ships. And I think really those are the really only Seabees that really go on ships. But most of the time, and I would say like over 90% of the time, maybe even over 95% of the time, Seabees do not go on ships. We are ground pounders. We do combat support. We do infantry support with the Army and the Marine Corps. We even do special forces and special operations and SEAL team support, which the second half of my career, I did a lot of SEAL team support with NSW 3 out in Bahrain. I was assigned to or attached to or however to SEAL Team 1 and 5 and did a couple of training things for SEAL Team 3, but I stayed in the SEAL Team community. And then when I got out, unfortunately, I went to SEAL Team 17 Reserve SEAL Team. And that's where I pretty much did the remainder of my career and got out in 2017. Unfortunately, due to injuries and stuff like that. So after that, I struggled. I really did struggle to find a job. And maybe that's the topic we can go on about, the transition life, because that's really big with veterans. I mean, that's really big with all generations. If you talk to veterans from World War II all the way now, the transition of when you come out is really hard. So I get out. I have a hard time finding a job. It was this hard. And when I finally found a good job, I was told that maybe this job wasn't meant for you or you're not good at this job, which I didn't understand. I think what it is that employers are so used to having yes men and people, just bending over backwards for them at the drop of a dime or snap of a finger. And with me, I would tell my boss, because that's what I was used to coming out of the military, like, hey, this is jacked up. This is fucked up. This is need to be fixed. You're doing it wrong. You're hurting the employees, or, stuff like that. Stuff you would say in the military, like, hey, platoon commander, blah, blah, blah. This is what's going on. This is the taste and flavor of the tempo right now. So I think that was my struggle. And even to this day, I have not learned to keep my mouth shut. And when I say keep your mouth shut, I'm not going off people, hey, hey, high speed, come here, hey, recruit, stuff like that. I'm talking like, hey, this is wrong. I do not like this, stating the obvious. when other people are like, well, I'm just going to be quiet because I don't want to get fired, stuff like that. So that's what a lot of veterans deal with. So that's what I dealt with. Unfortunately, my savings ran out and I became homeless. I became a homeless vet. I became a statistic. And the thing is I was so proud, and which also kills veterans, is my pride was so much, I was embarrassed to say anything to anybody and ask for help. So it was rough. It was very rough. It was very tough. I was a single dad. I had my son with me. And whenever I had him, we were in and out of hotels a few times. We did sleep in the car together because I did have a car. So I was homeless in my car. But then it was just hard, and I was embarrassed with that too. So I would collect cans. I would collect pallets. I would do whatever I can to make sure when I had my son, we stayed in a hotel and we ate good, I did stay with my family off and on, hey, let's go visit grandma, when really I just couldn't pull it. I just couldn't have a hotel, and it was just rough, and the pride that I had so much of, I could not ask for help, because here I was, a combat veteran, attached to SEAL Team 17, working with the SEALs, doing all this stuff, leading Seabees into combat, out at FOBs. And here I am, and I can't even put a roof over my son's head. It was tough. It was tough. Eventually what ended up happening is I started volunteering, helping veterans, looking for homes and places, helping homeless vets, basically volunteering to do outreach with all these nonprofits in the local area. So because of that, someone said, hey, why don't you apply for a job with us doing outreach, and you can start working with us? And I'm like, hey, I didn't even know that was a thing. Hell yeah. Let me go get a job. So I did that. It was, I think I made $1 or $2 above minimum wage, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And that is when I found my passion. I'm like, you know what? I just want to do this. I want to help veterans. I want to help them. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to be in combat. I have PTSD. I have insomnia. I get over anxiety when I'm around large groups of people because I think I'm back in combat. I understand them. I speak their language. But not only that, I've been in the gutters at the very bottom, at my lowest low. So I know how it is to get back up. I want to do this. So fast forward, I moved up from, just doing the lowest level outreach all the way to, being an assistant, lead case manager, to even assistant director, to I got to a point where I wanted to go to school so I can be a director, start, get an education, because I hit the glass ceiling. But while I was doing that, I kept on getting calls hey, Dominic, we need help with this. Hey, we have this type of veteran. We need help trying to figure out, how to attend to this veteran, how to get his needs, or we need someone to talk to him. So while going to school, I was still doing this on my own, kind of freelance. Sorry, I had to get a cup of coffee. It's morning time. Kids didn't know it's over here. It's Wednesday. March 10th, Wednesday. I'm recording it this morning because I really want to try to get this out by this afternoon or tonight to you guys. I've been meaning, I actually wanted to start last Wednesday, put out this podcast, but I just life. So here it is. Here's the podcast, so it'll definitely get out today. But anyway, so I was still freelancing, kind of like a free agent, just going around helping people. And I thought, you know what? I want to start my own nonprofit where I connect veterans with resources. And not only that, I noticed that I was out of shape, and I used to be in good shape. I want to be in great shape. I want to be back to that warrior fit, have that warrior hole, be complete, so I want to have a little spin on that. Not only get them services, but get their health back, And that was when I founded the Kikoa Veteran Foundation, under the mentorship of Esperanza Ortega, who is the founder and CEO of Student Soldiers Justice Memorial. So under her guidance, and also under her, my nonprofit was thriving and doing good. While working for her and working under the banner of SSJM, we both got big, and with her being a lot bigger than me, but for me, starting from nothing to a little bit, it seems big to me. And I had some good successes and some good success stories. I even got letters of, I don't know what you call them, appreciation, accommodations from senators, congresswomen, mayors, and stuff like that. So I was doing good in the community. So then I finally moved to Yuma, where we combined our powers to work with veterans in Arizona and in California. So now I went from working in Los Angeles County for veterans, helping veterans and all that, all the way to 2 states now, you know. So it was just good. It was been good. Still doing it now. My title is the director of programs and operations for the Student Soldiers Justice Memorial now. And I'm still doing my twist on helping veterans through health and fitness. So it's just nice. I love it. I mean, if you ever want to get into a job field where you're not going to make a lot of money, where, you're going to look at people the same age as you, the same years in a job, the same job title, and they're making buco dollars and you're not making a lot, this is a job for you. But think about it. You're helping humanity. You're helping the community. Whether you want to help the LGTB community, or you want to help religious, your religious background community, the homeless, battered women, kids getting phased out of foster care. This is a job. You're gonna deal with some tear-jerking stories. You're gonna deal with some hard stuff that you may not be ready for, or it just may be tough, for you to deal with. But in the end, it's good. I've definitely shed a bunch of tears while helping people. I've heard some horrible stories. I've seen people just total down and out, and I've seen some great success stories where I cried out of joy because somebody finally sees the light at the tunnel. They see that they're going to be successful, that they're finally going to go somewhere, So it's a very rewarding job. Like I said, you ain't going to be a millionaire, you ain't going to be rich, but it's a very rewarding job, and I don't care. I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything, So, like I said, I am a 3rd generation combat CB equipment operator, to be exact. My grandfather was part of the handful of 1st Commissioned battalions in World War II by Rear Admiral Ben Morrell, who was in charge of Bureau Yards and Docks. He kind of just came out and said, hey, we need a combat force that can do construction in combat. And that's why we call him the Father B, or King B. He was a founding father of the Seabees. My grandfather, he joined up and was equipment operator, was part of the Pacific Push. Fast forward, my dad went in 20 years, and I grew up a Navy brat. So I know how that feels too. I know how it feels to be a Navy brat. Mom's at home taking care of this badass kid and my three siblings. I definitely did not make it easy for her. I was a pain in the ass for her. I can tell you that. So it was rough on her. So I see both sides. I see how it is to be in the military, be away from family. And I know how it feels to be at home with the family and dealing with all of that. So I got a lot of views, my dad, did a lot, and I didn't truly appreciate my dad, because I appreciated my mom. I love everything my mom did. My mom was a hard worker, man, and I saw all of it. I saw her crying at night because it was just tough. I saw her working. I saw her providing, all while my dad was downrange. So I used to have a little bit of resentment towards my dad, because in my head, I thought he kept on getting deployed solely because he, wanted to go. It was his choice to go. So I held it against my dad for many, many years, just held it against him, and it wasn't until I kind of got screwed on my very first year in the military that I realized, because this is what happened. I left to the military. I graduated, but I was called a grad and go, meaning when you graduate boot camp, you're kind of like there for a day or two. You go sightseeing in Chicago. Your family gets to take you, you just go out in town. You know what I mean? And what I liked is that I already got my, career started, because instead of me doing that, I graduated a couple hours. I was on a Greyhound bus on the way to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which is, I want to say about 45 minutes or an hour away from the base there. So, I was already started. I'm starting my career, but little did I know I got there and had to sit and wait for 2 months, for my class to form up, or a month or 2 months. It felt like 2 months, I think, but it took forever. So then I finally graduated, EO A school. And then I went to my first battalion. And then I went to my first battalion and they were already deploying. So I had to go straight out and get on deployment, So I didn't come back and see my family for about 13 months. And when I came back, I told my dad, you know what? I am sorry. I did not know this is how it is. I did not know that you don't have a choice. And that's what I think I learned a lesson, is that in the military, you don't have a choice. I really did not know any of this. So I went straight from boot camp to A school in Fort Leonard, Missouri, to deployment, straight into it. Not being able to see my family or nothing, So fast forward, been to Iraq twice, did a combat contingency in Albania, which was interesting because, we had the Albanian mafia on one side and we had Al Qaeda and terrorists on the other side, and nobody got along. Of course, the Albanian mafia didn't like us, and the Albanian mafia didn't like the terrorists. Al Qaeda didn't like us, and they didn't like Albania. So it was just like a three-way battle. So on that deployment, because we had people in Iraq too, on that deployment, we lost my good buddy Eric Knott, SW3 Knott, due to a mortar fire. And then we lost Carrick Adams with me in Albania due to construction. And that's what the thing about the CB's job is, we don't only do combat, we do construction, which is probably the two most dangerous jobs, and we do it at the same time. So it's not easy to be a CB, man. It's not for the lighthearted, but I love it. Wouldn't change it any other way. I would change to anything to have, of course, those guys back. So as far as moving forward, I also got involved in coaching. I do a lot of coaching with kids sports. I've been meaning to kind of dabble in it since I moved here to Yuma 2 years ago. I've been wanting to get involved in coaching because that's what I did. I coached, Pee-wee football. I love it. I love teaching kids. I love having fun with kids, and teaching them all the skills for football and just all the intensity and all that. I just love it. I coached my son in football and he loved it too. And he's a little guy. He's a tiny, tiny little guy, but he loved doing running back, so it's just cool seeing this little short guy running around on the field. Love it. So I do want to get involved here in the community with Yuma as far as high school sports. I want to move up to the next level and start doing high school sports. So, and then also too, like I said, my nonprofit, and even now working with the SSJM, I have a thing about fitness because I got really fat. I got super obese. I got super unhealthy, and I had to take my life back. I had to work hard at it and come back to where I was. I'm still a big dude even now, but I've lost a lot of weight. So a big dude as in I'm wide, I'm thick. I'm the male version of thick, So I love it. I love helping people reach their fitness goals to the point that I am now taking a NASM personal trainer's course to become a personal trainer, so I can actually do this legitimately and actually know what the heck I'm talking about, So I also do a little side work at a gym here locally. I won't say who they are because I got to get permission first to talk about them. Because it's a great gym. I love the owners. It's a husband and wife, and it's a badass gym. Love it. I work there from time to time at their front desk, and I also work out there twice a day there. So it's really good. It's really good. I love it. Life has put me through the ringer. Life has made me homeless and broke. Life has made me starving. Life has threw me in combat, and life has made me look like this Greek god all the way up to a pudgy fat guy. So I've been all over the place, been all over the world, seen everyone twice, and I still would not trade it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love it, because I have this experience and I can talk to people. And when they, do the classic line, well, you don't know how it feels, man. You don't know nothing. And I could say, actually, I do, because A, B, C, D, So what are you going to get out of this podcast if you continue to listen, which I hope you do. It's going to be very good. I think it's a lot easier to do this than a YouTube channel, because I do have a YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's called the Veterans Den channel, or the Veterans Den. And, I talk about a lot of military subject stuff, and it's just hard because it's production. You got to do audio, video, you got to do graphics, you got to do text and all this other stuff. So I've been wanting to do a podcast for a long time. Even since when I started the channel, I wanted to do this next and have both going. So it's really hard because this is a hobby right now, I guess you can say, because I still got to work, I still got to do things. So I do want to transition all this into my career or my job. Of course, got to still pay the bills. So I overwork myself by, working at the gym, working at the nonprofit, going out looking for veterans, doing a YouTube channel, and now doing a podcast. And then also too, what I haven't talked about is Bane the Raider. I'm a super fan for the Las Vegas Raiders as Bane the Raider. So it's the Dark Knight Rises version of Bane, just with a silver and black theme, So that is going, that's going pretty good. I love it. I actually do a lot of TikTok videos. You can find Bane the Raider on TikTok, which is doing really well. I have my largest following out of all these platforms is TikTok. So, I do things for mostly funny stuff, but you can find some veteran stuff, some stories. And, like one thing I want to do is I want to get an MRE and make it fancy, make it look like you're eating at a five-star establishment, So, so keep an eye out for all that stuff. But anyway, so with this podcast, this is going to be very opinion oriented driven. This is really going to be my opinion as myself, my opinions on politics, my opinions on the climate in the world, my opinions on veterans, my opinion as a single dad, my opinion because I got a lot of opinions, and I base it off of my experiences, and I've experienced a lot in my lifetime. So I want to make it funny. I want to make it informative. I want to talk politics. I want to talk about the military. I want to talk about veterans' needs. I want to talk about being a single dad. I want to talk about all that stuff. So basically when I come in, I flip on the microphone. I'm going to try to have a theme going, but there may be times where not so much rambling, because I am going to make it more constructive than just me sitting here rambling and me being the old man on the rocking chair saying, get off my lawn. These kids today don't know nothing. And, you used to go to catch the trolley to the Santa Monica Pier, ride the Ferris wheel, get some popcorn and make it back under 10 cents. Definitely don't want to do that either, but there may be times that I kind of sound like that. But, it's just how I feel in my thoughts and opinions. There will be F-bombs. There will be bad words from time to time. You know what I mean? I'm just going to freely talk. So just heads up. I know in some of my settings when you're promoting on these different sites for podcasts, there's a thing that says, is this hold adult content? So of course I click yes, because I cuss. My goal is to do about 30 minutes to an hour doing the podcast. Right now, this one probably will fall short of 30 minutes because, this is my introduction, But you can catch me here now on the Veterans Den podcast. You can also catch me Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. Arizona time. So let's say that is 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is going to change this Sunday because Arizona and the West Coast Pacific Standard Time will all be the same here in Arizona. So up until Sunday, you can catch me at 8 or 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time after Sunday. Also, too, you can catch me on TikTok at Bane the Raider. You can catch me on Instagram at Bane_the DA. That's how it's spelled. The is spelled DA. So Bane_DA_Raider. On Instagram, you can also hit me up on my personal Instagram, which is the Kikoa Veteran or Kikoa Veteran. I forgot which one. Actually, before I give you some bad information, let me look it up real quick and pull out my handy dandy phone. And it is Kikoa Veteran. So you can catch me on my personal page, Kikoa Veteran. Catch me on my super fan page, Bane_the_Raider. And you can catch me on TikTok, all one word, Bane the Raider. And I haven't decided if I'm going to make a separate page or Instagram for this. I think I'm just going to promote it on my outlets that I have already. Because this is hard, man, having all these pages and stuff. It's definitely not easy. Definitely have to like be posting at the right time. And that's another thing, people tell me if you want a bigger following, you need to do these analytics. You need to look at your analytics, look at what everybody's on. When I get a chance, I post. I'm not trying to say, oh man, I need to do it by 3:30 today because that's when my biggest following's up, or that's when most people are looking at my page. I'm a father. I'm a father, navigating through my own relationship with my girl, also to, just work, helping out the gym, going to school, so I do when I can. So my goal is to try to be doing this podcast every Wednesday. My goal is to record it in the mornings. So when I'm at work, I can edit it and get it all up and ready. I do want to say thank you for bearing with me because this is going to be some growing pains. I'm just learning how to do this. I've actually been at this for about 2 weeks, looking at all the programs out there that I can use for podcasting, and also trying to get rid of the as you can see, I've been trying really hard because when I do my morning show, there's none of that, because I'm so used to talking, and interacting with people. But when you're like just talking by yourself, you really got to work on not doing that at all. And I'm actually really good at public speaking, but for whatever reason, I can get in front of a news camera because I've been on the news before. I've been interviewed on the news stations and stuff like that. I've been never say, never had that problem. Only when I'm here doing the YouTube channel, or I guess now for the podcast, it kind of throws me off where I draw a blank. I do try to follow a script. If you were here, you can see this little piece of paper in front of me with one-line words of what I want to talk about, and I try to stick to the script. But I'm really type of person that loves, I guess the a way of saying is winging it. And, I just want to say what I feel. I don't want to feel scripted, but I do know doing a podcast, you kind of need to be a little bit scripted, or at least, harness your ideas. So we will definitely see how this goes in the next coming podcast, next coming few weeks. So hopefully I get it down and, just perfect the craft of podcasting, as you can say. So I hope you enjoyed my very first podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I am going to try and have this going every Wednesday. And if it's going to be hard, I'm going to at least try to record it Tuesday night and then have it up on Wednesday. Of course, I'll let you guys know, hey, I'm recording this around this time, just in case of maybe I talk about something in the news and then the following day it's, seemed not newsworthy, or not newsworthy, but not true. Or let's say we're talking about a crime and the new evidence comes out the following day. You know what I mean? So I'll definitely let you guys know when I'm recording this, around what time, just in case if the news changes, and maybe even do podcasts for special occasions and stuff like that. Especially if I have someone I can interview, definitely. I do know a handful of like semi-celebrity veterans that are, very well off or very successful. So hopefully get those guys in. But most of the time, like I said, it's going to be me and my opinions and thoughts on whatever subject. I will try to have a subject ready for each podcast. But if not, I may just come on here and just think what's on my mind that day. So thank you very much. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for checking me out. Hopefully you guys subscribe. I do appreciate it. I hope you all have a lovely and great week. Be safe. Be safe out there. Treat other one nice and good and respect and all that other stuff. And I will catch you on the next episode of this podcast, or the next time I post. I don't know what you call it, if episode or series or what, but the next time I post a podcast show or episode, I hope to hear from you guys as far as you listening. If you guys go on my social media accounts, definitely hit me up and say, hey, why don't you talk about this? So I'm always open up to suggestions and stuff. So I appreciate it. So let's just wrap it up. We are at the 29 minute mark now, 29 minutes and 4 seconds. So I almost got to 30 minutes, but I will catch you all later and see you guys in a week. Take care. Be safe out there. And like I always say, carry on.